Thank you. Before we start with the panel, I would like to mention, based on what we have already seen in this second conference, that we have plenty of opportunities. Dr. Pablo mentioned that. So we are also spoke with the local government here in Nuevo León State. Since Alfredo, we have some plans ahead on how to enhance the collaborations. So the good news for all of us is that we are going to be working together. Thank you to all the positive attitude coming from all our invited people that are here attending this conference. Thank you very much for that positive input. And I'm pretty sure that if we take advantage, academia, government, and of course, industry, we can make things happen. We can somehow reach a kind of technology development that we have already seen during all our conference. So we're ready for that. And the most important is after we finish this panel, we are going to have a kind of networking cocktail in which I hope you are going to be exchanging ideas between each other and to make sure that at the end of the day, we have positive actions and we are going to follow up some kind of collaboration between or among all the people here, okay? So I hope that it's going to happen. So sorry for taking that time, but I think it's a good idea for us to capitalize all this collaboration and all the things, the good things that are happening here in this conference. So I'm going to start. Thank you, first of all, to our invited speakers for this panel. Here with me, I am the pleasure to present to you Dr. Roberto Hernández. He is a scientist and research and development at Siemens, Mexico, here in Monterrey. Welcome to this panel.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to introduce to you to Cecilio López. He is an integrated supply chain vice president of building technologies at Honeywell in the United States. Thank you for being here, Dr. Cecilio. And also would like to introduce to you to Carlos Scott. He is the head of product marketing at GE Additive. So thank you very much for being here. So what we're going to do in this panel is just to talk about what is the impact that we have been already achieved working together, academia and industry. And we have three experts coming from industry, from Siemens, from Honeywell Aerospace, and from GE. So we may see that those are global and leading companies in the world. So it's a pleasure for us to have you here in Tech de Monterrey, and we hope that it's going to be an enjoyable panel. So I'm going to mention a global context about what we are going to be discussing today. First of all, I would like to thank you for your participation in this panel that is called Experiences in Industrial Projects and Academia, which is aimed to learning how academia and industry are working together to achieve really solutions that add value to the industry and to our society, definitely. And of course, that solutions are based on knowledge, okay? So the panel is going to last at about 40 minutes. And I will start with the first general question for our panelists, invited panelists over here. For the three of you, and I think it's a good idea for start first with Dr. Roberto, what efforts are needed to really boost the collaboration between industry and academia in Mexico to the implementation of new technologies to push the creation of innovative products? Roberto?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for the invitation to be here in this event. It's very important for us to share our good practice with everybody. So probably one of the most important things in this partnership between academia and the industry is to have a multidisciplinary teams working together in both sides, in the academy and also in the industry. Because to make a reality every project or to the creation of a new material or component, we need to know what we are looking for. And that, to reach that part, we need to share with the academic what are the specific function of the component or the material that we are looking for, and what is the property that we need to reach. Then they're gonna know how to work or what they have to do to reach these specific properties to make a reality. That is something very important, because if not, we are gonna still having that gap that probably most of you know that sometimes we have between and the academia and the industry. So probably that is one of the main issues that we normally face.
Here. Okay, thank you. Dr. Cecilio, now it's your turn.
Just thank you for the invitation. I think a key element is to create the environment in which the academia and the industry and the government understand what are the needs. Usually, there is a disconnection between what the academy is looking, researching, and what are the needs from the industry. And really what's at value is when we understand what are the needs, what is the problems to solve, and then work together to solve the problem. That's the key element, because that add value and gain credibility of that relation. So create that ecosystem with the government, academia, and the industry, that level of confidence on the things that what we are going to present, some intellectual properties and things like that, that really encourage the team to work together. So I will say we need to understand what are the needs in working on that.
Excellent. Thank you. Carlos?
Thank you very much again for the opportunity today. And I would like to agree with Cecilio, particularly on that one, of coordination. One thing that I would like to add to that is really understanding that additive is not prototyping anymore, right? It's not just prototyping. We heard today from our colleague Daniel that we have over, 8 million hours of flight time on components that we printed additively. Every one of our, every one of our engines has additive components, and sometimes over 300 components in one engine itself. And there's over 5% of implants that are done additively as well, right? So even though there's a long runway, there's a lot of ground that has been covered. And I think the connection that we need to have is to solve real use cases, right? And not just do prototyping, small scale business cases. We really need to overcome and make that jump to be mainstream. And I think that would help the technology as a whole become a lot more widely adopted. And Mexico and Monterrey is particularly positioned because we could leapfrog a lot of the existing infrastructure if we were able to capture more of the additive space.
Thank you. I think your comment agrees also with what we have already seen with Dr. Pablo Bartolo presentation, and also the comments provided by Matthew Kirby from the Software Research Institute. As a matter of fact, seems like if additive manufacturing is used for prototyping, but however, it can be used also for end products and to put it into the marketplace in a very competitive period of time. So that is good news.
And I think that connects very much with what Guillermo Torres said this morning, right? Science in action, where we actually are making products and services that serve everyone and not just a research lab in an obscure facility, but really connecting with the broader industry and the broader consumer.
Yes, that's excellent, excellent. I think we have a good news in Nuevo León based on your comments, and all the industry may now learn that in fact these technologies are here just to stay, but not only to stay, just to move very fast. And maybe in the coming years we are going to see that every manufacturing process is going to be based, at least at the beginning, in additive manufacturing technologies.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how far we're going to reach. It's going to depend on us, but I believe that this is the way to move and to explore the new technologies and so on. So based on this, I would like to ask Dr. Cecilio, in your experience, do you think that this pandemic situation that we were living in the past somehow hindered the collaboration between industry and academia? Based on your own experience, what would be the next step that we need to do in order to return to our normal life and also to start once again our collaborations and maybe to enhance using this kind of novel technologies and of course all the new materials development that we are seeing that is occurring in the world. So what would be your thoughts about that?
Yes, first, I am listening several times that what needs to happen in order to return to normal. And the reality is that it's a new normal. We're not going to return to the previous time. We're not going to return to 2019. That will not happen. The world is changing, the technology, the supply chain is changing. It's already changed. Besides all the pain of the pandemic and of course, unfortunately, the loss of lives, there is a good thing that happened, and is that move ourselves out of the comfort zone in order to look for alternatives. Alternatives to develop materials, alternatives to develop products that used to be produced, in our case, in Asia. And right now, we need to do something locally. So region for region is a key strategy that happens in all the companies across the world. That's okay, I'm going to produce regional. That means my plant that will produce here for the local market. And that means development of supply, development of technology that maybe we don't have right now. And that push ourselves to look for alternatives and look for sources that can help us to make that development. And it's in that specific moment in time when universities like Tecnológico de Monterrey and other universities could play a key role to make a partnership to develop those process, to develop that technology, those materials, that technology that allow us to replace what we used to have in the past that is no longer available or is right now due to the freight costs or due to the availability of that material create some bottlenecks on the process. So that connectivity and that process that happened during that pandemic needs to keep working and return to more collaborative way between the industry because we are in a growth mode right now. Despite of the recession that everybody is talking about, really we are in a preparation mode, I will say. We're in a preparation mode because we need to make a big jump in the next 2-3 years, especially in Mexico with the nearshoring. That jump must happen. And we need to be ready. So we need to, in Honeywell, what we did is we identify what are the key supplies that we need to localize, who can develop it. On the aerospace industry, that is the industry that I used to be leading that. Right now I'm in another division, but I used to lead that division for several years, 12 years. What we did is to identify what we can produce locally. And I can tell you right now, there is not a lot of supply in Mexico with the specialty materials, for example, or exotic materials. But there is an opportunity there. So work together with the academia, work together with the universities to develop that technology, to test that process, is when we can gain momentum and keep that momentum that bring benefit to the students, to the university, to the industry, to the government, and really create that cycle that will take us to the next level.
Oh, thank you for your comments. I believe that based on these nearshoring conditions, we may announce to the world that here in Nuevo León State, we have the ecosystem to provide solutions to industry, working together, government, industry, and academia. Thank you for your comment, and I think it's a good idea to provide this or to give this news to the world. We are ready here in Nuevo León, working together, and in Mexico, to host all the companies who would like to come and to, of course, bring knowledge, bring design, and of course, high quality employment. So we are ready, we have the infrastructure, we have the humanware also here, and we have a positive attitude coming from industry, from academia, and from government. So we are ready to be booming into this scenario. So in that sense, I think it's a good idea for the rest of the world, maybe if you can provide some samples of exactly what is going on here in Nuevo León regarding this collaboration between academia and industry. And in that sense, I would like to invite Dr. Roberto just to talk a little bit firsthand what are the kind of innovative projects that you have been running with the academia in this part of the world, between Siemens and the academia.
Yeah, Actually, I have in mind a couple of projects where we was working together with the academia, and the focus of the project was related with the development of composite materials. And in this case, we made a lot of research regarding with these materials, but something that is kind of new in our company is start to look in how to reduce the CO2 footprint with these materials. And in this case, the idea is to start to use recycled materials to make these composite components or materials in order to avoid the use of primary raw materials. That is something that we're starting to take a look, we're starting to think for these specific projects. But also a new concept in the company is with our internal projects related with the academia also, is part of the business case or wherever we need to get the approval for the project. An additional point is adding value, trying to find how to impact this reduction of CO2 footprint. And it could be since the avoid of the use of primary raw materials, or probably something related with the logistics. We're talking about the nearshoring. It's a nice concept, but for us, it's very important to find the right supplier here probably in Mexico. It's going to be the best option, of course, but at least in the same continent. So in that way, that is something that we're starting to implement with the new projects to add that value for this important point that is in mind of everybody, the CO2 footprint.
Thank you. So we have been discussing about the impact of additive manufacturing technologies in the world, and we see that we are moving in that direction. We are going to be using those technologies, and in the future, surely we are going to have new ones based on this kind of idea. So in that sense, I would like to ask you, Carlos, based on G-additive, could you please mention how widespread is this additive manufacturing technology at the universities, and what is the impact and the influence, and what is the support that GE is providing to the universities in order to really adopt these technologies?
Yeah. At last count, we had about 140 units, 140 printers in universities across the globe. And if memory doesn't serve me wrong, there's about 25 different countries where equipment is installed. So definitely, academia is the backbone of our industry. And there's a reason for that. The technology is not at a point where things are moving slowly, right? We're still innovating tremendously. There's a lot of room for improvement. And if you think about an analogy, if you think about things like computing back in the 1950s or 60s, one person could make a big difference, right? One group working on new technology. Imagine having an opportunity to work with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Mike Goodell. We're at that point in additive manufacturing. And I think that is a really exciting opportunity because you're getting at the ground floor of a technology that will change the world. And universities and research is a big part of how that is going to happen.
Yeah. So we are learning here that in fact this technology is now into our programs. It is part of our labs. So just wondering what would be the needed skills that our students need in order to really make this technology usable for our society. So I think that we have a long way to go, and with the help of this G-additive and Honeywell, Siemens, and the international companies that already are a user of these technologies, I believe that also we can move very fast and to modify our academic programs to make sure that our students are aware of that technology and also learn the necessary skills in order to really create the progress on that. So it is a fascinating world, and we have a lot of challenges and opportunities in that sense. So that guides me to the next question. Roberto, based on what we have already discussed, from the role of Siemens that Siemens has in Mexico, and we know that it's a global company and has operation in all the world, in the development and use of new materials and sustainable manufacturing technology, what are the success stories that you may mention to all of us regarding this influence that the academia some already has been having in Siemens? You have already mentioned one that is a focus on composite material, but what additional innovative projects you have been working with, and what is the coming future that you envision in order to keep this collaboration with academia, government, and of course, Siemens?
Yeah, we have another project related with coatings. We're trying to change the common coatings for another, in some kinds, composite coatings or composite materials. Also, we're starting to work with polymers. We're trying to use new polymers in order to work in this, because we use a lot of thermoset materials. So you know that we have a big issue with this type of materials. So another projects are related with that, trying to develop new polymers in order to reuse it, or probably, I don't know, use recycled components with the polymers in order to get what we are looking for. So that is are the areas where we are starting to, or we are working in Siemens, in our factory here in Monterrey. But also, there are another opportunities in terms of the probably lubricants and another type of materials. So that is the main focus of project right now. So, yep. What is the other part of the question?
Regarding sustainability application of this kind of technologies, how the academia are influencing or is influencing this issue?
Sorry. And well, to develop these projects and or materials, we need the help of the academia, because we don't have the facilities to do it by ourselves. We need the support of the academia, the facilities, the people that are working in or are doing research inside your institution, because that is something important. That is something that probably is not a big issue for us in the industry point of view, but we know that to have something in mind and to make it a reality or a fact, we need to have all the support that we can find in the academia. So, because if not, we are gonna need a lot of money to invest a lot of money internally in order to get that kind of knowledge for our projects.
So it is very interesting your answer, because what you are mentioning is basically that you see that universities, research centers could be your technology partners to really advance in the innovation that Siemens is looking for,
of course,
right?
They are, and we need it. That is something true. We need it. We need the academia. We need to keep it, working with this collaboration. That is important in order to reach that point where we can make or we can use new technologies like additive manufacturing in order to get at this mass production level.
Oh, well, don't forget that we have the new core lab facilities in Tec de Monterrey. Also, we have wonderful facilities in UNAM, UW, and other places. Our partners, not only in America, also in Asia, in Europe, that can be part of this effort to work together to provide solutions for that our society needs. In that sense, also would like to ask Dr. Cecilio, I know that you have been running some project with the academia. Would you please mention to us what are the successful cases and challenges of these projects running jointly between Honeywell and academia, and what would be the next step that maybe Honeywell could follow in order to take advantage of this relocation that we have from the industry?
Just, and let me give you some background on this because I think it's important. Several years ago, I don't know, doctor, maybe 10? To be honest, I want to expose you to, but maybe 10 years ago, something like that, or more. Honeywell made the decision to go deeper on the 3D printing. And we established some good big facility in Phoenix, Arizona with several 3D printing machines, several brands. And the decision was to implement one more in Asia. So basically we have two big factories or laboratories, if we want to call it in that way. And as well as General Electric, we made some partnership with different universities to working with them. But basically internally we have our own facilities as well. In Mexico, we have two big campuses for aerospace. One campus in Chihuahua, Mexico, that we have 5 plants that we produce all the rotative components for the turbines and APUs. And we have another big campus in Mexicali that we create heat exchangers, water management systems. Two big sites, really two big sites there. But we were not considered for that. That happened. We were not considered for that laboratories. And then I've been in contact with Dr. Elías to say what we can do. We are the main suppliers of these products, machine products. In the facility that I mentioned that we have in Chihuahua, we have more than 1,300 equipments, machine centers, lathes, laser, all the type of equipment that you think that can exist, we have it there. But we were not part of that, so what we can do? So we're working together. We work with the government. We acquire a laser machine, a metal laser machine. We're talking about 10 years ago that is not as easy as today. And at the same time, working with the Tec de Monterrey to develop a strategy, okay, how we are going to print it there. Of course, our intention is to print aerospace components. As you know, to certify a component in the aerospace industry is not easy. But at least we need to learn. We need to develop talent there. So we bring some additional students, working with some people of here at the Tec de Monterrey, and starting developing those products. And then one of the products that we developed was the blades. The blades that is in the hot zone, so it's not in use right now, it's not certified, but we developed it. We compared the capabilities of the casting against the material that we printed. We made analysis of the stresses on the part. We make a comparison of different techniques of 3D printing to find the best way to print that material and be better than a casting. That is what we are using right now, the finishing of the material. So we work very close, and in a period of time, we have exactly the same machine here and in Honeywell, on our campus in Chihuahua. So we can replicate the same process, close communications. At that time, I travel almost every week to Monterrey, every single week. We can be together. We made analysis. I sent some of my engineers here. Dr. Oscar spent several weeks there with us. So that creates that knowledge that helps us to have a discussion. So at the end, to not make this longer, at the end, ourselves, we put Mexico in the footprint of the laboratories for Honeywell to make the development. We were not considered that, but we make a decision. Mm-hmm. We received the collaboration of the government. We received the collaboration of the Tec de Monterrey, the academy, and of course the vision of the industry. So we were very successful on that. 1 year, 2 years later, my engineer was invited to provide seminars, to have discussion inside of Honeywell. Again, we were not considered for that, and right now we're playing a key role on that due to that level of collaboration, and of course the integration and coordination that we made it.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I remember that. It was a lot of challenges, and as you mentioned, the most important for us was to find really a technology partner in the sense that the industry shared some secrets with us, and so that easier our work to really move into the technology and to find the solution that you were looking for. So when we find very good collaborative partners and we share the information, it is easier for us to work together and to find the solution that industry is looking. Don't forget that the universities here in this part of the world, we have very advanced IP contracts, so it shouldn't be a problem to write very fast also, and no disclosure agreements to work and to keep all the secrecy and confidence information that we are getting from the industry. So that is easier somehow our working together with industry. And it was a really successful cases, and we are happy that not only Tec de Monterrey, but I believe that all other universities here in Mexico are also working with Honeywell and providing those kind of impact. And that is a good example of how the academia, the government, and the industry can work together to really add value to our society. In that sense, I also would like to ask Carlos. Carlos, from the role of GE Additive that has in Mexico in the development and use of new materials and sustainable manufacturing technology, could you please tell us how do you view the opportunity and challenges that industry and academia must face together?
Well, a lot of it is around some of the things that have been mentioned here before, right? Closing the gaps that exist, right? There's a lot of application development that needs to be done. I think the role of an OEM like us is to create the capability, and there's going to be some smart people that need to figure out the possibilities, right? And creating that pool of saying, we could build this, we could do this microstructure, we could have this build time, we could do this with this porosity level, I think is only the beginning. Using that capability to generate designs that make better products, more efficient turbines, longer lasting components, it's really what's needed, right? So I think the role of academia needs to be centered around closing the gaps that, like Cecilio was saying, exist around localized suppliers, right? And specialty materials. I think if I had a magic wand, I would create a dozen different startups in Monterrey, supported by the technology that's being created here in Monterrey Tech to industrialize and commercialize ideas that, quite frankly, don't exist today. So I think there's a lot of runway for people to make the world better and make a lot of money doing that. So I think that's ideal combination.
Oh, we have a lot of opportunities to add value, right? Finally, for each of you, I would like, if you don't mind, to give your final recommendation for universities, government, to support transformation and accelerate positive impact. What would be your recommendation in that sense? What would be your expectation as an industry? Because you are global companies in the world, and many other medium and small companies follow basically your advice. What would be your recommendation in order to enhance the collaboration between academia and industry? Roberto?
Yeah, probably something that we need to start to make here in this collaboration between academia and industry is start to involve students in the development of the projects, probably master students, doctorate students. We are going to have that additional value to the development, because the students is going to start to think how to look or how to find the projects with the industry, and also for us, we're gonna participate in this human resources formation for that is gonna be available for everybody here in the industry.
Thank you, Carlos.
I was taking notes here. I think continuing to invest in research and development is important, right? And it's not a one-time and done type of investment, right? And we saw the core lab, we see the amazing amount of resources that's been going into this from the Monterrey Tech perspective. But I think it's a long road ahead of us, right? So I don't think it's once and done. I'm old enough to remember walking around this campus and going to the CETEC when it was first started and seeing next servers that used to cost $10,000 and in today's dollars probably closer to $30,000. And they were all over the place, and they continue to be purchased and they continue to develop. And I think my point here is a lot of that investment was not buying the hardware and then walking away, right? It was a continuing effort and road that ended up changing the world, like I was saying earlier, right? The computing in the ways that changed the world was not anticipated back in the time, but the Tecnológico de Monterrey had the vision to invest and start to get on the ground floor of something that was going to change the world at the time. So I think the continued investment and the perseverance is what's really needed to make a big difference in this space.
Thank you for your comment. Dr. Cecilio?
Yes, I want to make 3 calls for this. Call number 1 is for the government. And for the government is to keep focus on develop technology, develop science. Really, the countries that are growing, the countries that are progressing, are the ones that are investing on that are investing on science, that are investing on research process, that are investing in technology. Really, that's a key element that we need to keep doing that. So that's the first call for the government. The second will be for the academia, for the universities, is to keep investing on research and development, be in close contact with the industry. Don't be shy to be in contact with the companies and say, hey, we have that capability, what we can do for you. Do you have projects? Do you have something new that we can participate with you? You don't need to invest in this equipment. We already have it. And we have students that are hungry to learn about that. So you don't need to hire 20 engineers. Maybe you need to bring 2 and work with us, with our students that are, some of them are already engineers, are in master's degree or PhD, and work together. So that's a key element. And the third call will be for the industry. On the industry, we always are very focused on our process and our solutions and what we are doing. And sometimes we are working with some universities, but we as a Mexican and in Mexico, we need to turn our head and see what we have here. I can tell you right now. Right now I'm running one of the Honeywell division, and I have plants around the world, and I have different engineers worldwide. And I can tell you the Mexican engineers are very talented, very smart, very creative. But sometimes what is needed is that to put it in the right direction, in the right process, with the right support, and we are going to achieve incredible things. For the example that I present of a success story, I don't know how many engineers working with us on that project. And some of those are no longer with us, because right now they are growing and they are contributing in other Mexican companies, and other international companies, and giving good support and good relation. And that creates more correlation between the universities and create those cycles that really improve the process. So the goal is to work together, and there is a big opportunity that we have in front of us, and we need to keep working on that. We cannot just keep doing what we are doing. We need to really do different things, and start, as I mentioned, we need to start jumping, because the jump will be for 2-3 years. Every jump will be 2-3 years, and right now we are working.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your comment. So I think it is a good time for us to go to some questions and answers from you. I have the first one here. It is a question that says the following: what advantages do your sustainable materials offer us for the new manufacture of new smart buildings? are they 100% environmentally friendly? So who would like to answer that question? Maybe Carlos.
Well, that's a little bit outside of what metal additive manufacturing does for us today. But in respect to sustainability, right? I think it's been said sustainability depends, right? The answer is, unfortunately, it depends where some of the materials are sourced, where the power is sourced, whether or not you optimize a part for duration of its life cycle. So I think the key question is not, is something sustainable or not, but how do we make incremental changes that are going to be better, right? And make in the case of building, a more sustainable element. So I don't think it's binary. I think it's more of a grayscale, and I think we really need to work on making sure that we're making the right decision at all levels and not just on and off, right?
May I?
Cecilio, sure, please.
Thank
Go ahead,
you.
Cecilio.
And I want to participate here because one of the division that I'm in charge, the name of the division that I'm in charge is HBT, Honeywell Building Technology. So one of the division is smart buildings. And the smart building is related to everything to control the access to the buildings, the lighting, the air conditioner, everything that is related to that. And what is the importance of the new material, not just on 3D printing or new technology, is what really allows us to be more efficient. And right now, one of the key elements is to be carbon neutral. It's one of our targets. And the application of all this technology is a key. I want to give you just one example. You know that on the compression system for the air conditioner, usually very old product, but Freon 14 is the traditional one. So what we developed in Honeywell is a product that is Solstice, is the name of the product, that will not contaminate, is more efficient than the Freon or the other system that are using for compression. And that allows us to use less electricity. At the same time, we have all the systems and the connectivity, the wireless systems, the velocity to control all the panels is a key element here. We have fire systems as well. So the usage of new technology is a key element. And we have a path to right now if something happen, at the same time that the alarm sounds to you, sounds with the fire department, sounds with the government, and everybody's consider that. There are cameras to monitor everything and say if it's true or if it's a false alarm. And in seconds you can do it. So the technology, the new materials is a key element really for not just to be more efficient, but for be more environmental friendly.
Well, thank you for your comment. And just regarding, for instance, you know, in Nuevo León State, we have a crisis on water. So also Honeywell is addressing those issues of water waste on this smart building?
Yes. Yes. And one of the process, there are key elements here that we are managed. Reduce the electricity consumption, reduce the waste, in everything. So material that we can recycle, material that we can develop and use it in different ways or convert to another is a key element.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'm glad to hear that Honeywell is working on that. Excellent. So Roberto, I don't know if you would like to mention something based on what you are doing in these areas of also construction?
I mean, just the science or products that were working here in Monterrey, in the Monterrey factory, is trying to implement new materials in the devices in order to probably not make it better, but at least still having the same performance with materials or recycled materials or new materials. That is our efforts here, and that is how we can contribute to this
environmental friendly, sustainable, environmental friendly materials. Okay, thank you. Now let us go to the public here. Do you have some questions? Okay, there is one question over there.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for this wonderful panel. Dr. Cecilio mentioned that we can't go back to where we were on 2019, right? And this, I wanted to address the supply chain crisis, and wanted to get your thoughts on the role of initiatives like the additive manufacturing core lab ecosystem, where we're trying to further nourish this collaboration between academia, industry, and the government, and how can this address this supply chain issue? Thank you.
Sure. The opportunity is huge. The opportunity is huge. And if we talk specifically about the printing process, additive manufacturing, we need to understand what is the actual application. As you mentioned before, it's no longer a prototyping.
Yes.
There is product that right now we are printing. There are products that are not cheapest if you print it, but give you an advantage. For example, on the aerospace industry, you can reduce a lot of weight if you print it, because there are some specific shapes that you can make it, that you can produce with additive manufacturing, that if you produce with a traditional methodology like turning, milling, EDM, whatever, it's very complex and sometimes you cannot do it. So this is a key element, and this is a process that we need to find. And of course, there are some other process that are volumes, that like molding process, depend of the product, of course, that you produce millions of pieces, that if you compare the price, that is not competitive right now. Maybe in the future, but right now it's not competitive. But there are some small runners, low runners, high mix, that you don't need to purchase a tooling if you have 3D printing. So maybe it's a good idea to do it. So that is an opportunity that exists, but we need to explore, and we need to go deeper on that. So high correlation, high contact, and the opportunity is huge. Is huge. Not just for the aerospace industry, that is the one that usually, the aerospace industry and automotive industry in different directions, but always are ahead of the game. And but there are several applications that the medical industry is a key here. So again, we are not going to back to normal, what we call normal. That is a new normal, and we need to take advantage of that. And the advantage of that is to develop those processes and opportunities locally.
Yeah. So I think if you don't mind me adding a little bit, supply chain was shown to be fragile, right? And now there's ways in which we can make it better. And like previous disruptions, right? Women going to the workforce in the 1940s with the war, things don't go back in the toothpaste tube, right? They stay out. So now we're going to see continued interest in nearshoring, in making sure you have supply chain robustness, and all that aligns very well with having additive manufacturing as part of your process. And being here in Mexico, being here in Monterrey, again, is an ideal situation to explore those opportunities, right? And see what applications make sense. And not just print anything because you could print it because you have a good, solid business case.
Oh, thank you. We have time for one more question. Let's over there.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. This is Ricardo Corona from the Plastic Institute here in Monterrey. My question is in regards of, you talk about development for manufacturing, okay, and development for parts and components for manufacturing. What do you have, or what do you think that can be done for biomedical? You mentioned something about some of the implants that are made with additive manufacturing, but is anything being done with this scaffolding for building organs, grow organs for medical applications?
Not today, right? One of the things in GE Additive that we focus on is on the technology. We make the printers, we make the powder, we provide consultant services, but we don't make the components, right? Particularly not in implant and not in orthopedics. So I could almost turn the question around and say, what are you doing to advance those applications, right? Because you have the technology available to you. You could reach out to us, you could reach out to Monterrey Tech to explore the capabilities, and then the possibilities goes back to what are you doing as an industry to improve on those designs. But you're right, I think a lot of the implants today already started transitioning. Spine is almost 100% additive, or 90% additive. Some of the other metal additive orthopedic implants are getting there. I mean, 10% is not insignificant. And over the next 10 years, the transformation will be even further because of cementless needs that require very complicated coatings that you could do in one step in additive that you cannot do in traditional manufacturing. So there's a lot of room for additive to fill that void.
Thank you very much. With this last final answer, we finish our panel today. Thank you very much to the general public.
Well, we're going to try and... Go ahead.
We have time for one more question?
Yes, please.
So
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much to the three of you for all your contributions. Well, I'm a student still, 5th semester, and I would like to ask you, in which degree or in which measure can we students facilitate this relation between our institution and your enterprises? Because we are very interested in, well, watching Honeywell or watching GE or watching Siemens collaborate with our institution, and thus us collaborating with you from our student stage still. So in which degree can we approach your companies, or can we facilitate this relationship? Thank you.
I'll make it brief, but one thing that comes to mind is the speed of change in additive manufacturing is really quick, right? So programs and teaching classes that are pre-scheduled are not keeping up with all the developments. So I think where the students could make that connection, where they can help us, is to stay on top of all the latest developments and not just simply look at the curriculum, right? But stay informed and almost be entrepreneurial in the way you're going to be learning and reaching out and understanding what's available versus what's in the textbook, because sometimes that is not keeping up. In a lot of cases, it's not keeping up.
Okay, thank you. Now we
Thank you.
already finished that. Thank you.